Welcome to the AI4EU Cafe. Today, the speaker will be Vanessa Clemente from Worldline Mobile Competence Center from Barcelona in Spain. And with her talk, she will present to us next generation of a rewarding system for social networks. Vanessa and me are partners in the Helios Project. And Helios is basically a sister project of AI4U, as we are together in the current next generation internet program of Horizon 2020. So this cafe is a cross-project collaboration event. And my name is Carmen McWilliams. I'm the moderator and organizer of this cafe. I'm the director of the company Grassroots Arts in Cologne, Germany, and I welcome you all. And as always in the beginning, there are the small rules. Please take notice that the session will be recorded. No confidential information shall be shared in this cafe session. In this cafe, the speaker expresses her personal view and opinion. This is not necessarily the official project opinion, like project opinion from AI4U or Helios. So what is this cafe about? It's an online forum to gain insight into the European AI and social media scene. Participants get the chance to share knowledge and experiences and meet stakeholders from various areas of research and applications. As you know, it's an interactive session. Like always, please write your questions into the menu on the, everybody sees the menu on the right side. There's also, you can enter and type in your question to Vanessa, and I will read it after the presentation to Vanessa, and she may answer. Yes, and now, of course, we come to the highlight of this cafe. So I will introduce Vanessa. Ms. Vanessa Clemente holds a bachelor degree in business administration from the University of Barcelona and a master degree in global management from the Antwerp Management School. Since 2015, she has been working for the IT sector, and in 2018 joined Worldline as business developer to generate solutions around mobile technologies and their digital ecosystem, and she is project manager for R&D projects at the Worldline Mobile Competence Center. She's currently involved in different research programs. Among them, she's involved in the Helios Project for the implementation of a decentralized rewarding system and a blockchain access control module. So again, great. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you very much, Carmen.
So now it's your turn, and again also welcome everybody who's joining. I'm now changing the moderator so Vanessa can show her presentation. I have now give you the moderator role, so yes, I already see you.
Okay, works. Okay, thank you. So welcome everybody to this talk. I hope it's interesting. So let's start. First of all, I would like to make you an overview about the agenda of the talk. I will talk about different blockchain online social media, decentralized social media, to see how they are currently applying the decentralized rewarding system. I will also talk and focalize actually about how we have created and developed the Helios rewarding system. For that, I will introduce the pro-research that we conduct, the main functionalities of the rewarding system and its architecture and how it works. And to finalize, and I think this is the more attractive thing maybe of my presentation, I will show you a video demo showing the capabilities of the rewarding system so you can understand better. Okay, so during the last years, the amount of content creation through social media has grown rapidly. Every single day, we consume and create content ranging from articles to videos, images, and so on, from a wide number of social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. However, most of these social networks fail in providing a fair and transparent rewarding system. Actually, as you can see in the image on the right side, a large portion of the revenue is kept by the platform itself, whereas only a small portion is given to the original content creator. However, decentralization techniques have been radically changed during the last few years. Indeed, the decentralization of the online social networks has seen the rise of blockchain-based online social media. These platforms give more importance to the content provided by the user, giving them rewarding and removing also the problems of privacy and fake news through the blockchain technology. In an attempt to solve these decentralized social media platforms have evolved after 2016, starting with Steemit and Minds. Steemit and Minds have emerged as the two most popular decentralized social platforms. Each one, as we can see in the graphics, have over 1 million registered users. If I go deeper and I explain you a little bit of Steemit and Minds rewarding system, starting for Steemit, we can see that it's a decentralized social media platform where everyone can receive a reward for creating and curating content in the form of a Steem cryptocurrency. It was launched in March 2016. It has more than 1.2 million registered users, even though as data from 2019, there is only 41,000 monthly active users. The blockchain they use is the Steem blockchain. And how it works, how we can get rewards. So we have three different kinds of currency units. We have the Steem, we have the Steem Power, and the Steem Blockchain Dollar. The three currencies have different usage and different meaning. The most intuitive one is the Steem, which represents the liquid currency of the platform. That is the currency that is normally exchanged between users. Steem can either be stored for future payments or can be used to make a long-term investment on the platform. This long-term investment consists of turning part of the Steem that one user holds in BES with an operation called Power Up. The number of BES that one user holds show how much commitment or investment the user has on the platform. BES cannot be traded among users. They can only be traded back to the Steems, but this conversion is called power down. So the Steem power of a user is the amount of a Steem that the user will get if he or she will power down all his BES. Then we have the Steem. The Steem power is much easier to understand from an end user point of view, since one unit of Steem is equivalent to one Steem power. And one can easily understand how much currency is liquid, available for transfer, and how much is invested in the platform as best. Finally, to introduce some market stability and to make the whole economy also accessible for people outside the platform, a third currency was introduced, which is the Steem Blockchain Dollar. But this is just an introduction of the three different type of coins that the Steemit has in its own platform, and maybe you are wondering how you can get the Steem dollars and the Steem power. So to explain you this, every time content is created by a user, every post or comment has exactly 6 days and 12 hours to get upvoted by other users. Then the rewards for the creator and the curators are effectively computed and awarded. These rewards can be paid in two currencies, as I mentioned before, can be paid in Steem dollars or Steem power. The default option and the most common one is 50% of Steem power and 50% of Steem dollars. Also, it doesn't only get tokens, let's say, the person who creates the content, but also for curating content, for a voting, you also get rewarded. Curators are rewarded in Steem power only. So rewards are shared between authors and curators in a percentage of 75% for authors and 25% per curators. However, there are more complex algorithms monitoring the curator reward. If, for example, if a post receives a vote immediately after posting, nearly 100% of the curation reward goes to the author. And if it's upvoted 30 minutes after publishing, 100% curation rewards goes to the curator. So it's a little bit more complex to understand how both authors and curators get the Steam power and the Steam dollars. Well, this is what I was introducing. If we go to Minds, which is a little bit more simple to understand than Steam, Minds is another decentralized social media rewarding, which was launched in 2015. It has also more than 1.25 million users registered and a little bit more of active users than Steam, which is 105,000 monthly active users. The blockchain they use is Ethereum. And how they reward, let's say, to the users. So each action on the site is worth in a different number of points, as you can see in the table that we have here. To provide, for example, a comment, you get a weighted score of 2 points. To make a check-in, you get 2 points. To remind, 4 points, and so on. All these points are then added up to the daily contribution and the total amount of tokens that are given by the user contribution score divided by the total network score. So if the contribution of a user consists of a considerable amount of actions, for example, I can get 6 points in a single day. But if there are more active users during that day, then probably the number of tokens I get, since it has been a busy day, it's less than in a non-busy day. So here we have the utility, what I do with the tokens in Minds that I have been awarded. I have different options. I can, for example, spend it in advertising. I can exchange the tokens with other users. Or, for example, I can access to premium content with a service in a monthly fee that I can pay with the tokens in order to not visualize advertisement and so on. So they have these different activities or features to spend the tokens awarded. Of course, there are other decentralized social networks like Mithril, Herboat, SocialX. They are not that relevant as Minds or Steemit, which because both of them have more active users and more users registered in the network. But just a few concepts to introduce. For example, in Mithril, it was launched in 2018, and they use the blockchain of Ethereum. In Herboat is also using the Ethereum blockchain. And they introduce a new concept different to other decentralized social networks, which is the ordinary likes and dislikes that are replaced by a hot and a cold heart, respectively. So in Herboot, which is the one that it's in the middle, they introduce the hair power, which is mainly an indicator of how powerful your vote is in a determinate moment. So the greater the power, the greater the reward in Herboot. So, for example, if you start voting different posts, after each 10 votes, your power is reduced by 0.2. So to recover the 0.2 occurs every 9.6 hours, and the maximum power is 1. In addition, the reward is distributed taking the sequence number of the hot heart in the publication. And the issue tokens are also distributed as rewards to the authors, the miners, and the voters. Actually, the author receives 65% of the issue tokens, and the reward for the reacting to the publication with a hot heart is 50%. In terms of SocialX, which is also launched in 2018 with the boom of the different decentralized social networks, it's another platform that also allows users to publish pictures and videos. Following the same idea than the other decentralized social media, in SocialX, users have also available a daily limit amount of super likes. So it's similar to the Her vote with the power, but in SocialX, you have a determined number of super likes and dislikes based on the number of the followers you have. And normal likes serve only to show appreciation to users, while dislikes are used in SocialX to identify the spam, so the low quality content or if there is inappropriate content. So having analyzed all these decentralized social networks, another step we have taken within the Helios project has been to analyze the different blockchains available in order to choose the most appropriate one and that matches with the requirements of the Helios rewarding system. You can see here in this image, we have from public blockchains to federated blockchains to private blockchains. Just a few insights, especially between public blockchain and federated blockchain. Actually, they are classified as permissionless or permissioned. So the main difference between permissionless blockchain, which is the one that we can have in the public blockchain and where we can find different platforms like Ethereum or Bitcoin or Steam. On this model, the blockchain is kept open to the public. This means that everybody can read, write, and validate transactions without any permission. The decision making also is normally done by one of the several decentralized consensus that exist. But in the permissionless blockchain is mainly the proof of work or the proof of stake. Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, they both use proof of work in order to achieve the consensus, which is mainly a computational challenging mathematical problem that must be solved by miners. The process is known as mining, and the nodes in the network are known as miners. So once the solution has been solved by a miner, the block can be broadcasted to the network, and the other miners can verify that the solution is correct. However, in these permissionless blockchains, there is a main problem, which requires highly specialized computer hardware, and a large amount of energy is spent. As a consequence, there is a poor degree of scalability in terms of transactions per second and high cost associated. In networks like Bitcoin or Ethereum, the transacting identities are also anonymous. So the task of the system is to achieve with an adequate level of trust that the transactions are valid and that each party will comply with its duty. This is very difficult task to perform in these conditions, and this is mainly the reason for the poor throughput observed in those public permissionless blockchain. And due to this disadvantage of associated with the proof of work, we have seen the case of Ethereum, which is moving to the proof of stake with a new version of the platform that is called Ethereum 2.0. The proof of stake, unlike proof of work, is based on the token ownership of the participants. And it will provide more scalability in terms of transactions handled per second. However, despite the scalability problems that we have by using the consensus mechanisms of proof of work and a permissionless blockchain, security and transparency are better addressed on the permissionless blockchains rather than on the permissioned blockchain, because all the transactions and blocks are broadcast and verified and recorded among all the participants in a decentralized peer-to-peer network. And this process actually ensures that the whole system is immutable and it's stable and resilient as long as more than half of the computer resources remain honest. And the opposite in the permissioned blockchain, on these types of blockchains, the user needs to be approved by a trust authority to join to the network. By doing so, it addresses some of the drawbacks of public blockchains, such as the scalability. However, it also sacrifices some of the potential benefits, as I said, like, for example, the decentralized transactions, a wide distribution of the ledger, and a truly decentralized environment without an intermediary. Here we can see some of the conclusions by analyzing the different blockchains between permissionless and permissioned. Mainly, as I said, the main difference between both is the scalability, which in permissioned blockchains, we have a scalable and faster solution, and therefore a low energy consumption. But one of the cons is the security in the network, that it's not actually fully decentralized and it's less transparent than a permissionless blockchain. When choosing the, well, actually on the following table, we have analyzed all the permissioned blockchains, mainly because when we were choosing which was the appropriate platform where to build the Helios rewarding module, we set a different requirements. No, for example, that the blockchain platform must support smart contracts to leverage decentralized applications, that has a high efficiency and transaction throughput. Minimum, we said that should be capable of processing over 100 transactions per second, and the diversity of the validators nodes also to ensure minimum levels of decentralization. And that for pilot purposes, because we had to test the solution with the use cases from Helios, it should be good if we have low or no transaction scores for validation purpose through pilots. So for that, taking into account all these requirements, what we did was to analyze all the platforms to see the type of consensus they have, the transaction cost, the speed, the block time, and if they support the smart contracts, as you can see here. Taking into account this, we decided to go through with Alastair. Alastair is a non-profit association that promotes the digital economy. It was launched as the LIRA network in May 2017 and formalized as a non-profit organization in October. And it is composed of more than 426 partners. As we can see here, the distribution is 46% are small medium enterprise, 50% are large companies, and 39% institutions, which are mainly public administrations and universities. They use Quorum. The platform is based in Quorum network, and they use as a consensus mechanism the Istanbul, the Byzantine fault tolerance, that are algorithms designed to avoid malicious attacks of this kind over a distributed system. There are different validators. There are different types of nodes in the Alastair. We have 65 regular nodes, which are the responsible for accepting and verifying and delivering the transactions to the validators. In terms of validators, we have 17 validators, which are the block makers, that are responsible for generating the blocks. They are in charge of executing the consensus algorithm. And we have 5 boot nodes, which are responsible of the network's nodes permissions, and it's visible to every type of node. And why we have decided to go to Alastair as a summary? Well, Alastair is neither a public permissionless network nor a private consortium. It shares some of the properties of both types of networks. As I said, it is currently built on Quorum, which is Ethereum-based architecture. And they use the Istanbul consensus algorithm. And also they have no cost for running transactions. So there is no gas to make any transactions. This is a good advantage for us, for the project, in order to test the different use cases. So let's go a little bit deeper. Once we had analyzed the different decentralized blockchains, social networks, and we have analyzed the different blockchain platforms and decide to go with this mix between permissionless and permissioned blockchain, as it is Alastair. The next step in our research was to analyze the different use cases from the Helios project. We have 3 different use cases, and what we did was to check the user journey of each of the use cases, and from the user journey to identify those actions, user conducts, and that are potentially marked as a rewardable action. So I have here included an example just of one of the use cases of Helios. This use case is mainly it's Helios Talk, which is a social app that allows to connect with other people based on my interest, location, and so on, and my context and so on. So it makes different matches with people that may be relevant in my environment. And from this use case, as I said, and in the similar way we have done for the other 2 use cases, from the user journey, we have said, okay, for example, if there is a registration of the personal profile and the user provides this data, then for the registration, we gamify the user with tokens. Or, for example, if they accept to be connected with another user, we also provide with some tokens. And there, after defining all the different actions of the different use cases, as we can see in the right table, we have scored the different actions with a weight score of how many points, that no tokens. These are only points. Then we will calculate the tokens, as I will explain you. Each user should obtain for their actions, to share content, for content views, to create new content, and so on. When designing the algorithm for the rewarding, we have taken in consideration, and based on the analysis done of the decentralized social media apps, 2 things. First of all, that the token, the algorithm of the calculation of how many tokens a user obtains should not be too complex. As we have seen in Steam, it's very complex to understand how many tokens I will obtain at the end of the day. So this can be a barrier to access to this kind of decentralized social networks. And for that reason, we have wanted to keep the algorithm as simple as possible in order to that can be widely accepted by the user community and understandable. And the second requirement to design this rewarding algorithm is that the algorithm should be defined in a fair way for every single user of Helios, so that every user obtains the same number of tokens independently of the kind of relevance they have and so on. So as we can see on the left figure, before explaining the algorithms, I will explain the left figure, how it works, the rewarding system. This scheme shows that a user of the Helios network performs an action on the network, for example, provides or uploads content, and it's a candidate to be rewardable. Then the rewarding model manages the associated rules and incentives, confirms the rewardable action, and applies the transfer of the corresponding tokens to the user's wallet. And the reward wallet accumulates such tokens as a balance of points that the user can use for other uses, as if it were an internal currency of the system, for example, to access to premium features of the platform. So how a user in the Helios network obtains token? Well, mainly, first of all, we have to understand the concept that every day there is a predetermined number of Helios tokens that are distributed based on the daily activity at the end of that day. This is called, we call it daily reward pool. So the individual's daily contribution is determined by how much they contribute to the network that day, but versus how much have contributed the entire community. And then this percentage is applied to the daily reward pool to determine everyone's daily tokens grants. So in the formula, we have the total contribution of a user is the first thing we have to calculate. This is mainly the sum of the different actions performed in the network. They said how many actions you have done and how is the weight of each action you have conducted in a single day. Once we know the points of a determined user, the next thing that we calculate is the relevance. Okay, this is the percentage of contribution related to the whole community. So I will have a percentage of contribution, and this will depend of the division between my independent contribution divided between the sum of the different contributions that the community has performed that day. Once that I have the relevance, what I calculate is the number of tokens that are available to distribute to the different users of the network. This is the daily reward pool. And how I calculate it, it's mainly, it's based on a kind of preset calculation, but depends of the number of active users contribution to the network. So I will take the sum of all the weight score of the different users from the network and multiply for the number of active users divided by the total number of users in the network if they don't have performed any activity. And finally, when I know what is the daily pull reward to be distributed to the different active users in the network, what I will do it is to multiply it by the relevance of each of the active users of the network. It's a little bit maybe complicated to understand, but you will understand better in the video demo that I will show just after explaining the architecture of the Helios rewarding system. So mainly we have an application of Helios, which can be one of the 3 applications that we have built. And once that the user performs an activity, that is the reward they want, this is sent to the API with the identification of the user and the context of this activity. In this case, the use case which is related. Afterwards, it is also sent the activity of the user, so the token generated by the user and the event, which is the activity that has conducted, if it's a like or a share or whatever. Once we have this, every 24 hours, within the API, we calculate the number of tokens that correspond to each of the users. The calculation is of chain, but the generation of the card with the number of tokens is conducted on chain in the blockchain through a smart contract. So once we have this card with the number of tokens won, this is sent through the API to the user and is incorporated in their personal wallet. So the user has another application, which is a digital wallet, where can scan this QR code, and immediately the tokens, the Helios tokens, are included in the wallet to spend it in premium features of the application. So let's see the video. Okay, I don't know if you can hear.
I see it, I don't hear it.
Okay, I'm not sure how it works. Anyways, it's only music, so it's okay if you can see. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the video, and the session has finalized my side, so I think it's time of questions.
Okay, I'm coming back. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Really interesting. And yes, so I'm the first. What can I do with these tokens? Where do I find then this premium content?
It's in the different, what can you do with the tokens earned? It's in the different applications of the Helios network. Depending on the application, you can conduct different activities. For example, we have a use case of citizen journalists, which is mainly a broadcasting network to upload different content in streaming of videos. And the owner of that video can set the video maybe, for example, as premium. So if you have tokens, you have earned Helios tokens, you can access to that video paying the fee set by the owner.
Okay. That leads to the next question, because I think many people are in the audience are not aware of Helios. Helios will be open source tools and to build your own trustworthy social applications. And that's right away my question. Will be this rewarding system, will it be open source and available for any SME to build their own app?
Yes, it's actually publicly available in GitHub, in the Helios GitHub. So this is possible to find it in the Helios website. I think you can access here, Helios H2020.euro, and then you can find the GitHub and you can find the information of the rewarding model.
Okay, great. So, and now the question from Laura Ricci. How many nodes are present in Alastair? How many nodes do you have?
Own nodes or Alastair in general? Worldline has one node in Alastair. Okay. But in general, as mentioned in one of the slides over here, there are 65 regular nodes, 5 boot nodes, and 17 block makers.
Okay, great. Yes, and now, Janis, thank you very much for the insightful presentation. Did you evaluate your approach in a real-world scenario? Is there any related publication on this?
No, it has not been tested in a real scenario. We are going to proceed to test it in a control environment with the pilot. And from there, what we are trying also internally is to boost the solution to other kind of sectors. For example, retail sector, where it can be applied to gamify users for their activity or the promotion they do. In a specific, for example, business, no, like a supermarket or so on. So we have in the plan to test this with a real scenario, but so far we have recently developed it, so it's not tested yet.
Okay, okay. And here comes a new question. Janis says, thanks. Good answer. And Lara Rodriguez, how the app identifies the events within the network. For example, the meeting that Peter proposed in the video.
How it can be found, this meeting? It's
how the app identifies the events within the network.
Okay. In this use case, there are 2 types of functionalities. One that it's depending of your interest and your location and so on. It proposes proactively to join to some groups that may be of relevance for the user. And also there is the possibility to look for events, in this case, to search for events that may be relevant for you, but in a manual way.
Okay. Yes. Maybe you explain a little bit more, because it's not super clear with Helios to all the participants. Is it like a toolbox? Is it a toolbox, a platform, a toolbox with a lot of tools in it? Where do you I find this Helios onboarding system? Is it like basically one of the many tools?
Yeah, it's one of the modules that integrates the platform of Helios. But the platform of Helios is composed by other components, very innovative, some of them, like trust module and a streaming module and so on. But the rewarding module, let's say, it's a component included in the framework provided by the Helios platform.
Okay, good. Yes, and now my question again. It's like in this scene in mind, the ones which are already out there working with many users. The same question I've gained there. When you finally have your points or your tokens, you are collecting a lot of things. Can you leave the world of Steam in mind and take it with you to another? I mean, can you even put it in real money? Or can you use
yes.
else?
Yes, the Steam, for example, I think it's there is a Steam for sure. It's possible to make it in real money, but mine's I'm not sure if you have the utility to change it, for example, for euros. I don't think so. I think it's only to use it internally in the platform.
Okay, I also. Yes, now I'm going into more general question. What excites you in the moment the most? You, Vanessa, not anymore what Helios does, not anymore what AI4EU. What excites you in the moment and the social media and of course also AI research and innovation the most? Where will be basically your next plans after Helios go, or what excites you?
Okay, well, it's interesting to be part of such as a project as Helios. I'm a frequent user of multiple social media applications and working on a technology company that allows me to be part of this project. Then it's very interesting to see how during the past years we have seen the rise and the adoption of new technologies such as blockchains that have appeared to overcome this current challenge that most of us face using the different social media applications in terms of challenges such as data privacy or fake news. And even though the adoption is not that mature at the moment, it's interesting to see how it evolves, and more there is new innovative use case and applications on top of it, as we can see on the applications developed in the Helios frame.
Thank you. And we're coming now slowly to my last question. Also, I see the audience is slowing down. It's also a general question, actually, how you think we get more students, startups, SMEs, people in the field using our novel tools, for example, this Helios onboarding system or in our research programs. How do you think we get more SMEs involved in it?
Well, as I said before, it's the decentralized blockchain online social networks are not still that mature in the market versus online social networks like Facebook, Instagram, or Telegram, or even WhatsApp. However, every time more and more, we see that there is more awareness among users, and higher importance is given to data protection. For example, with all the Cambridge Analytica data scandal, or recently when WhatsApp announced changes in the data privacy policy that was suggesting that content may be exchanged, the content exchange between users may be used for business for the purpose of advertising, where we saw that the end users were moving from WhatsApp to other social networks like Signal or Telegram. No, so every time there is more awareness on this, still, as we see, the number of users using these decentralized online social networks are very low compared to online social networks. WhatsApp has more than 2 billion users in the world, and we were saying that Steam and Minds had 1 million users registered, so it's very low in comparison. But I think if the use case is very attractive, if there is a rewarding system that gamifies users for their activity, and there is innovative functionalities like the ones that Helios is building, like the the interest, the trust module, or how you can connect with people based on your interests, your contents, or your location in a determinate moment. That are functionalities that we cannot find in online social networks so far, and these are functionalities that can be very attractive to get more and more users to use this kind of social media.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I mean, we are also in the news now, the case that Australia fights with Facebook. I mean, came to the news that Australian content providers wanted to have a percentage in the advert, basically, and Facebook doesn't want to share. So, but it's very acute. I mean, that's why it's in the news in the moment. It's basically people want a percentage, and I think it gets more and more attractive, other models, how to share. Yes, so I thank you today. Thank you very much, Vanessa. This was very, very interesting. And now again, for everybody, if you would like to have the presentation from Vanessa, please drop me an email or Vanessa, because Vanessa said, no, you said you would share it, no? Yeah?
Yeah.
You should the presentation.
Yes, no problem to share it.
Good, great. So if you would like it, just drop us an email. Secondly, the recording will now go out after this cafe to Vanessa, and she will say yes, no. And if yes, you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. The video, I will include here the link so you can see it in YouTube directly.
Yes, great. So then have a nice afternoon, and here's again also the emails, and also you find everything, or just write to me. Everybody has my email as the cafe moderator, so you can either write me or Vanessa. Okay, bye-bye. Have a nice afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.